Hi guys, Lindsay here with Storybook Family Farm. Today I thought I would do part 3 of how to start a garden. So in today's topic I want to discuss fencing, trellises, and teepees. Not like the cool teepees that the Native Americans used to use. I suppose they probably did use this as a trellis, but I'm talking about the cool ones that they used to live in that, I always dreamed of as a little kid, that one day I'd get to build one and stay the night in it and, all this old-fashioned stuff that my heart just has always loved since I was a small child. No, what I'm talking about is the type of teepees that you can just use like 3 sticks, long sticks, or tomato stakes, or just something long. And basically you shove them together in a tripod type of setting where they lean together at the top, and vegetables we use them to climb up. But more on that in a minute. First thing I want to talk about is fencing. So whether you live in the middle of nowhere, like I do now, or you live smack dab in the middle of town, it was just a really weird noise. Apparently it's just one of the rabbits drinking water. It sounded almost like a chain like jangling in the background. I was really tripping out thinking maybe Bigfoot was coming or something. Anyways, so whether you live in the middle of nowhere like I do right now, or you live in the center of town like I used to, I highly recommend doing some sort of fencing for your garden. Here we're going to have different sort of garden pests and predators than we did when we lived in town. When we lived in town, our biggest predator to the garden was actually rabbits. The standard fencing, I'll just show you it. It's the 2-inch by 4-inch fencing, like a non-climbing fence that people use a lot for goats. It's what we use to keep our goats in. Don't mind the yelling goat baby. He is working on getting weaned down to only 1 bottle a day, so he's not happy. But this fencing right here, I don't know how well it'll show up. It's so sunny today, which is a nice break from all the rain, but my eyes are not adjusting well. So that fence right there is called a 2-inch by 4-inch welded wire fencing. That is the type of fencing that we use around our gardens, because it is very easy to weave the tomato plants up in it to use it as a trellis. We also like to grow pole beans along our fence, so the pole beans can then just come up and make it so that way it's super easy along the fence line to come on the outside or on the inside of it to pick the beans and to harvest the beans. It also creates a lot of airflow, and it makes it really easy for the bees to get in there and do their thing. When we lived in town, we did for the first couple years that we lived there, we did not have the money to buy the more expensive, the 2-inch by 4-inch welded wire fencing. We also use it 4 foot high, just in case I didn't say that over there. But what we did when we lived in town was we actually just bought chicken wire, because rabbits can't jump very high. They primarily like to just walk through things or dig under them. So what you do if you're going to use chicken wire, and chicken wire is relatively cheap. It used to be a lot cheaper than it is now, but so did everything. So if you're going to buy fencing, I highly recommend getting it this year instead of waiting till next year, because it has gone up tremendously each year since we started doing the whole homesteading farming type thing. So it seems like all this stuff is better to buy it now if you can afford it, instead of waiting until the price doubles. Like these fancy T-posts. When we first started doing this whole venture, they were only like $1 or $2 a piece, and now they're close to like $5 or $6 a piece. So that gets very expensive, because there's probably 15, maybe 20 or so T-posts around this garden. So a lot of money just in posts. But anyways, so to start out, I recommend, if you live in town, doing just a chicken wire fence. The chicken wire, you only have to get a 2 foot wide roll. And what you'll do is just pretend this is a small tomato stake, or just even a stick. You can use a stick and staple it to a stick. You don't have to do anything fancy. The plants are not going to care. We care a lot more about aesthetics than plants do. So you'll start it at the top here, about, I would guess probably 18 to 16 inches high. I usually go for more of an 18 inches high thing. And I know that the chicken wire roll is 24 inches wide. So you will put it so it starts 18 inches high, and you'll go the whole entire way around your garden space. You will then leave almost like a 6-inch skirt that comes out along the grass with the chicken wire. As your grass grows up through the chicken wire, it'll essentially grip onto the chicken wire, making it so that way it is not easy for rabbits to just burrow right underneath of it. A lot of things you'll read a lot of things that say you have to bury the end of the chicken wire so that way it stays down. In our experience, the grass grew up fast enough to basically latch onto the chicken wire, making it so that way it was very difficult even at the end of the season for us strong humans to be able to lift the chicken wire back up. So it does work very well like that. You might have to in some areas use rocks or something to weigh down the chicken wire. Really not a big deal. And it worked tremendously well. It makes it harder. You can't really use it as a trellis if you do the chicken wire method. So if you want to get the most bang for your buck, I recommend getting either a 3 foot tall or either a 3 foot tall or 4 foot tall of the 2 inch by 4 inch welded wire fencing. They make nicer ones that they have like a rubbery plasticky coating along them and stuff, so they're more flexible, but it doesn't really matter. They're also more expensive, the ones that are coated, and they don't seem like they're any better quality to me. So I would just do the cheapest, most cost-efficient method that you can for putting in a fence. It does make it really nice to be able to use the exterior walls of your garden to be able to grow food on, because it serves as double duty. It keeps predators out, it keeps nosy neighbors out, or like if you have, neighborhood dogs or something of the sort, whatever you got. It keeps predators out, people out. It also serves as a nice trellis, and it looks nice. You can also grow flowers up it to attract a lot of pollinators. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is the teepee method. If you need more trellising space than just your garden, or if you're going with the chicken wire method, you will likely want to have some place that you can trellis some pole beans, whether it be pole green beans, or you want to trellis some peas, or you have some lima beans that you want to trellis. A teepee will work really nicely, and it gives a really, really, really beautiful aesthetic to see all these different, either like 3-piece teepees, where it's like a tripod type thing, or even a 4-one. My former neighbor, she used to grow all of her lima beans. She grew pole style lima beans. So they, the pole, if you don't know what that means, it just means that they climb. There's a bush style that stays, about a foot to 18 inches tall and just gets bushy and produces all of the beans kind of at once-ish. And then there's the pole style beans. They will pretty much just continue to produce throughout the entire season, like a slow trickle. So they end up, over the course of the whole season, they end up producing more than the bush style beans. But, some people don't like that. Some people would rather have the bush, and I've grown both. And I usually do every year, grow both. So the nice thing about doing the teepees is, like, say you have a nice big area in the center of the garden and you want to create a really beautiful focal point. You can then build some of your own little teepees with pretty much anything that you got. I mean, you could use poles, you could use 2x4s, you could use 1x1s, you could use sticks. I mean, anything. The sky's the limit with building stuff like that for plants to climb up. But you can create a really beautiful aesthetic with it, and even have it so that way you have some flowers going up some teepees and stuff, to create a really nice little area that you can just chillax and stuff. It gives it a very quaint appearance in the garden, and it also serves a purpose of allowing your plants to grow up something. I'm sure that you've probably all heard of the Native Americans, how they used to use the Three Sisters method of growing beans and squash and corn together. They'd use the corn as a trellis. I don't know if that method is actually true or if it's just a myth that's been created because it sounds good. Beans, they do create nitrogen, but only after they've died. So, I mean, who knows? I've tried that method and I have had no success with it. The beans, as they grow up the corn, they pretty much just suffocate the corn and make it so that way it can't produce any ears, because it's basically bonded up in chains and it can't even like frill out its leaves like a corn plant wants to. So, I mean, if you've had success with that, let me know in the comments section, because I'm curious to see if maybe I didn't plant the right type of pole beans. I mean, I have no idea. It just definitely seemed like a big flop to me. So pretty much all of your plants will benefit from some sort of trellising or fencing. So yeah, if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. I would be happy to answer them as best as I can. And if I don't know the answer to something, I will try to point you to somewhere or someone that can answer your questions. I'm very much just here to help people grow and to learn new things and to provide for themselves a little bit more than they were able to in the previous years of their lives. So if you like this content, please give this video a thumbs up. If you would like to share it on your social media, I would greatly appreciate it. And if you'd like to subscribe to our channel to help us grow, that would mean a lot to me and to my wife. We are very much on a new journey of our lives of trying to provide for ourselves with more than just food, but also financially, through our own small business of the farm and through doing YouTube and, a bunch of other little things that were basically just a bunch of side hustles. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Have a good one, guys.